Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David and I'm so lucky. I am so lucky to have this platform because what I'm able to do then is elevate the voices of other magicians and other creators so that you know what's out there. But the other side of that is I get to have conversations with you, right? I get to meet you guys and I get to hear your questions and field those. And so I try every single week to answer a magic question. And so one question that comes up a lot is, what's your advice, right? What's your advice? And I think that's probably something you would ask anybody in their profession, right? If the microphone got passed to you, you would stand up and say, sir or madam, what's your one piece of advice for X, right? For someone starting out, for somebody in this field to get noticed, right? What's your one piece of advice? So I have five. I have 5 pieces of advice for all of you magicians. Now, whether you're starting out, whether you're trying to get noticed, whether you're trying to move from beginner to amateur or from amateur to advanced, whatever, right? I tried to make this as general as I could, okay? Hopefully this advice applies to everybody. And I don't just have one, I have 5. All right, my advice for magicians. Number one, magic is about your spectator. Magic is about your spectator, meaning it's not about you. It's not about you. I know typically as a magician, we get into it because, you know, we want the spotlight, we want the attention, and we like it probably. You know, if you're that kind of person, it means that you want to be that person that is looked at and admired. And there's a tendency to want to have this air of, I'm the magician, right? But the best magicians are the ones that make the magic about the spectator, because that's where the magic is happening. You've already seen this trick. You've seen this trick, you already know this trick, but they don't. So that means don't rush it. Slow down. Pause. Give that person the attention that they need. That means make eye contact. It means smile. It means be personable. It means listen. It means talk to them, right? Have an interaction with them. Ask them questions. Don't just talk to them or at them. Your presentation shouldn't be the same no matter who you talk to. And it shouldn't be the same with a spectator as it is when you're alone in your bedroom practicing, right? It should be new. Every interaction should be new. Even if it's a self-working trick where the outcome's always the same, or it really is a pick a card, any card, no force. It shouldn't matter. Slow it all down and make that interaction about them. Make a connection, and I promise you, you'll see your magic intensify. Second piece of advice, be yourself. At the same time I say it's not about you, also remember though, be yourself. Bruce Lee said, always be yourself, express yourself, have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate it. That means find out who you are. Not just your character, but you. You got to let go of all those stories and labels and judgments that you've placed on yourself and be who you naturally are, without masks, without pretension. There's this huge issue in magic where we become the magician that we're copying. Right? You got 5 tricks to show. And one trick is from Jay Sankey. And when you do that trick, you just become Jay Sankey. You copy his patter, you copy his mannerisms. Your next trick is from Max Maven. And in that moment, you become Max Maven. And you copy his mannerisms and his patter. And really at the end of the day, the spectator just sees 5 tricks from 5 different magicians who just all happen to be you. The challenge is to be yourself, to find yourself, to tap into that magic and make it personal to you. You know, my first piece of advice was to make it personal about them, but because you're the performer, it also needs to be about you. You know, you watch America's Got Talent, right? You watch that. That's a great example of people who are successful and unsuccessful as entertainers. And one of the things you'll hear, especially with people who sing songs that are not theirs, right? The judges are really impressed when they can say, you made that song your own. right? Your own. You didn't just copy the song that's on the radio, and I just closed my eyes. It could have been anyone on the stage. But the way you sang it, you made it personal. You changed it in a way that was still true to the song, but it told us something about you. It drew us in because of who you are. Be yourself. Third piece of advice, practice, right? Practice, practice, practice. You knew this piece of advice was coming, right? Every magician says it. Practice. Practice makes perfect. We say that for a reason. Okay, but what if I only get simple tricks? You know, I get pretty simple effects, and as soon as I learn it, I know I can go out and perform it. Okay, that's fine. But you should even practice self-working tricks. You should. I know you've heard it 1,000 times, Ray Bradbury says, but it's true. Hard work pays off. If you want to be good, you have to practice, practice, practice. I mean, if you don't love something, then don't do it. The thing that separates the amateurs from the pros, or even the beginners from the amateurs, is you get that thing in the mail, you get so excited, you've been waiting for it, and then you just rush right out and do it. You perform it that night, right? That hour. And you didn't give it the chance that it deserved. You know, I said that we can rush things with our spectator, and we can forget that they're in the audience, but we can also rush a trick. We can rush it because we haven't let it sit with us. You know, I do public speaking for a living. And one of the things I learned about public speaking is if I just write something and go straight to stage and start to say it, it won't come across nearly as well as if I practice it a few days before and then just let it sit with me. The longer I let it sit with me and let myself think about it in my head, I start coming up with other things that I realize I could add. And so magic is the same way. Let a trick sit with you for a while before you rush right out there and do it. I guarantee you're going to find new things to discover, new things to unlock that you didn't notice earlier because you let it sit and you allowed yourself to practice. Advice number 4, tell a story. Tell a story. You know, I used to watch David Copperfield and his stage specials all the time. And one of the things my dad would always impart to me is how David Copperfield told a story every single time he performed. And it didn't even have to be with words. Even if he was doing a big stage piece that was all set to music and he and his assistant were just dancing, there were costumes, there was backdrop, there was music, and you could tell that there was a story. And you could follow it, just like how some dancers, they can create a story, even in a couple of minutes. You can still follow that story as the viewer. And as a magician, you need to realize that all of your tricks tell a story. So as much as I'm telling you to be yourself, you need to realize that part of yourself as a magician, as a performer, is a storyteller. I used to tell jokes when I was a kid. I loved telling jokes. I liked being funny. But a poor joke teller thinks that the joke is all about the punchline, right? I can't wait till I get to the punchline because then you're going to laugh. Okay, but if you don't take them on the journey first, the punchline won't make any sense. You could end up with your punchline and say, ta-da, there's my punchline, and they could say, that's not funny. You say, well, don't you get it? There's the thing with the thing and the part. You're like, oh, well, man, you ran over that so fast, I didn't pick up on that. But now that you mention it, I guess it is kind of funny. You don't want that. Same with your magic trick. The kicker ending is not the best part of the trick. I know we want to rush to the end to see their shocked face, but if you guide them a little slower and you tell that story, then by the time they reach the end of the magic trick, it'll be magic and they'll have that experience that you want them to have. Mark Wilson said that magic is only 20% of it. The other 80% is how you present it. Magic is a form of communication. And again, I'm going to go back to America's Got Talent. You ever notice that the people they end up highlighting and the people that end up going through, they aren't always the best. You think to yourself, man, that other guy was such a better magician. How come they didn't pick him? Man, that lady was a better singer. How come they didn't pick her? It seems on that show, they always pick the ones that have a better story, right? As as the audience members, we are captivated by story. Theater is story. What you are doing is a small piece of theater. So don't forget that you're a storyteller. And then lastly, leave them wanting more. Now, that is age-old advice. Age-old advice for entertainment all across the board, right? And there's a reason why that is a strong piece of advice in the entertainment industry, and that is because too much of anything sucks. It's true, right? Too much of anything is not good. So don't wear out your welcome. Leave them wanting more. Life, right? Think about it. Life is not just about beginnings, and it's not just about endings. Like I was saying with the storytelling, right? It's about this continuing cycle. It's about going down that road. It's about the journey. And so we want to make sure that that cycle continues, that there's more down the road, more coming, right? Yes, when you reach the finale, sometimes you're like, we made it. But there's another part of you that's like, it's over, right? So the best way to not overdo it is leave them wanting more. How many of your favorite TV shows end in a cliffhanger, right? They don't resolve. And so it makes you want to come back more and more because you feel like there's some anxiousness in you. You want to hear how the rest of it goes. Same way as if I tell a story to my child at night. If I sit by their bed and read them a story, the thing I should do is just read one chapter, right? Read one chapter and stop. Because it allows them now to sit with the story and it allows them to have anticipation for the next time we sit down, right? Because too much of anything is not good. Nobody wants to be the last person to leave the party, right? And nobody wants to be the singer that they yell at and say, okay, you're done, get off the stage, right? You don't want that. You don't want to be that person. So be exciting, be engaging, be funny, and always leave them wanting more. All right, that's it. That was my 5 pieces of advice. What do you think? What do you think? How do those measure up for you? And let me know down below which one is your favorite, which one you agree with, or this is the great thing about the internet, what's your advice? What is your piece of advice that you would offer to somebody in magic or just the entertainment industry? What's a great piece of advice? Put that down below so that we can all see it and share it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for those questions. Keep them coming. I'll see you next time. Bye.